you know. And I'd like to ask you guys if you have any questions. Any part of the process you guys didn't understand?
Well, I have a question about the commit. How does it scale if you have a lot of open connections, like compared to Node.js where it's all evented, so it doesn't block? But here, if you have to keep like 1,000 open connections.
Right. So what Leaf does for the client side is, imagine you have 10 tabs open. What browser does, Leaf does, as many commit components you have on a page as you want. So you have 20 commit components. They will always use the same HTTP tunnel request. Right? Mm-hmm. So now I don't know if you have, which means every time you have a comment stuff come on one page, you have one request on the server. Lyft uses, what's the name, Jetty continuations, or yes, continuations on containers that support, I think it's container 3.0 or whatever, I'm not good with that. But what on these continuations is, you get a request and you don't have too many threads. So you get this on the continuation, which I don't know very well how it works. It's continuation stuff. What happens is, it's like if he's in standby. If he scales, I think he does, because you have stuff like Foursquare and they are quite big websites. But I don't know, compared with Node.js, I'm sure you can have more, probably, I don't know. You can have the same, but depending on how much RAM, I think. And I think the JVM needs a lot of RAM, so Node.js is lighter, I guess. But the point is, with this you can do a lot of different things within one framework. Other thing I didn't have time to show, because I didn't put it here on the slides, is you can have the screens. Screens is this concept of, you build a screen, so you have a model, an object model, and you want to collect the data for the model, and you create screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, and the process and the user fill the forms one by one. But with most of the time, what do? You need to, how do you find out what step is the user? How do you find out what's happened when the user click the back button, right? What do? You store the stuff on the cookie, you put it on the database somewhere, you store it on the client side. There's many ways of doing it. With Lyft, is always kept on the state, on the JVM, because it's stateful. So when you go from one page to another one, Lyft knows about the previous page, because you use this global unique identifier, and you always know what page you are at. So I can show this. Yeah. Right here. So Lyft always know, if it's stateful way of you dealing with the stuff, always know about the requests, the processes. One other thing is, Lyft requests is not just below the page, right? Everything show up and is finished the request. Lyft is not like that. Lyft keeps the request for the Ajax commit stuff. You're always using the same request data. So it's why Lyft knows where to put the commit components and where to go from screen to screen and things like that. Any other questions?
What about debugging this code? Is it possible somehow?
To debug?
Yeah.
You can have the ID debuggers with Scala support.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. If you have some experience with it works.
No, I don't. I use only like the SPT console and stuff, and because it's everything it compiles and it tells you the errors and you have to test. It's not like me personally. I don't have much experience with the traditional ID debugging where you put the step and you go through one by one. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have experience with that. I just.
And it is deployed in the serverless containers, so it's
Yes.
Jelly or Tomcat or
Jelly,
something like
Tomcat, yeah. And there is now coming up, there's already a demo out there which is with Netty. So it's another alternative and it's coming, I think, in future versions of Netty support. Which is quite good, I think. Another alternative.
What do you think about the future of Lyft? Do you think it will gain more followers and members?
Well, I have two things about Lyft which I'm kind of... first is the documentation. You have a lot of... You have cookbook, you have a free book online, you have a couple of free books online, but they are a bit outdated. It's like for version 2, we are at version 2.5, and I think version 2.4, when they make these CSS selectors new, I mean properly done. Before it used to be a bind method, now we just use these CSS selectors, and so I think documentation could be improved a lot. And about the future of Lyft, I see activity on the mailing list. I see Lyft with a bunch, many different committers, big list of committers. I don't see too many commits on a daily basis, like in Play or any other more hot framework. But for me it's good because it's not only helping me to see a different way of making web applications, because my main work is doing Django, which is also awesome, but it's different. And for me it's teaching me about functional programming concepts, and so I like it. And another thing I like a lot is you can, for example, with Play, if you want to change a small detail, sometimes it's hard. Like if you want to access the subdomain, it's very hard. You can't access the subdomain in Play. Okay? Stuff like so. It's hard. With Lyft you have options for that. You don't need to have stateless, you can use stateful. For me, the main point about Lyft is choice. You can plug and play a lot of different things. You don't want this kind of templates because it's not your style. You are more like Hamel and whatever it's called, Mustache stuff. You want to use other templating languages, you can use. If you want to use MVC, you can use. You want to stream data, you can stream data with the REST asynchronous REST stuff. So one big point is that, I think, is the choices.
And is it supposed to like replace client-side JavaScript frameworks? I mean, if I can do like some JavaScript stuff from the server side?
It's not meant to, but a lot of the hard work is done for you. Yes. Like just submitting an Ajax form, you don't have to write JavaScript. This, I think, is helpful. But it's helpful, it's just, you know. But JavaScript is the language I like the most, so, you know. But the point is to collaborate between front-end people and back-end developers. This is very good. You just code HTML, they put the CSS, that's it, you know. And this is also an advantage. You don't need to create different repositories for the front-end and the code. You don't need, yeah. So
are there some things you don't like about it? Something that bugs you?
Yeah, there's one thing I didn't like much is I'm a bit spoiled with Django and with Play because you have a nice configuration file. You put your routes, you put the name of the method, and that's that. With Lyft you need to go and create Scala code and plug it in, but it's more powerful because you can create submenus, you can create, for example, in Django, if you wanna, Django is not so bad, but I don't know, in Play maybe. If you wanna stop a user to access a certain page, right, because you need to be logged in or whatever, with Play you need to do some hula hoops, create a new, what's it called? What's the name of it? You create a new function which you wrap the actual request and you parse that stuff. With Play, with the Lyft, you don't have to do that. It's already there. It's on that sitemap and menu stuff, which The syntax is not the most friendly, but so you have 2 minutes. Yeah? I don't know, but well, I'm playing with it. I'm writing one application. I like it, and it's like a lot of nice sweets inside one box, you know. So yeah, I guess that's it, no? Yeah.
So maybe one last application. What would be better to do in Lift than in Django? Like, when would you prefer Lift and when would you prefer Django?
Like the example I gave, this interactive stuff. So just the fact that if you want to do something which must be asynchronous, some actions must be asynchronous, Django is not good for that. You have to make Ajax requests, and you don't have this comment built in. With Lift you have, right? And yeah, that's pretty much this kind of stuff. Like imagine this application I was talking is a sort of Twitter but for collaboration, right? So it's discussions. So you log in, you create a team, then your team create discussions. For example, you get a new proposal for your agency, design agency, and you want to discuss the proposal with your client or with your colleagues, right? So if you want that done in real time, where you type in the stuff and whatever I am will come up on my browser, kind of chat way. If you do that with Django, it's not. So these guys, what they've done is, they have the Django, they have the rest in Django, they get a new message, they post the message into the Redis queue. The Redis queue alert Node.js, and Socket.io. So, you know, like the whole circle and all of different kind of technologies to do one thing that Lift does out of the box. And plus, lazy loading is, I think, is a great feature. I like it. You know, it's like you have a blog or whatever, and a content site to be more rich kind of speech. You load the content, but you don't want to wait for the Twitter feed to show your latest tweets, right? So what do? You make it lazy load, you load the whole page, and when the tweets are ready, you display on the page. Stuff like that.
And is there implemented some kind of graceful degradation? Like imagine you have a browser that doesn't support JavaScript.
It supports up to IE6. It's common.
So if you got some lazy loading stuff at your page, it will just not load if your browser doesn't support JavaScript or JavaScript is not.
Yeah, but the browser supports.
Alright.
The comment work in IE6. Now what they do is they have this, I don't know, I forgot the right name, but all the connections go through one HTTP request, all the comment stuff, right? So on IE6 you can only have 2 HTTP requests at a time. So
It's like that. These days I use the text mode browser because I got limited internet connection. I guess it will work at this kind of browser.
yeah. Yes. But if it works in IE6, I think it's a good start. And they'll be adding WebSockets and what's the new, besides WebSockets, server event, client-side events, like event, yeah, it's a new an HTML5 spec. Which is, WebSocket is server client, client server, this is just server client. So you replace all this comment stuff out of the box. And you have support for MongoDB, CouchDB, and normal SQL stuff.
Okay, any other questions?
No?
Well, thank you, Joao, for talking.
Thank you. Nice to be here.